Welcome to the Awesome Business Podcast with your host, Brian McPartland. Guys, I've spent 25 years in the entertainment industry, best known as Captain Awesome from NBC's Chuck, or that guy from the Hallmark and Lifetime Christmas movies. The best part of my job is meeting a whole lot of extraordinary people from awesome businesses. That's what this podcast is about. I want you to meet and learn from these people too. We're going to pull back the curtain on actors, athletes, and entrepreneurs and the obstacles they overcame to star in their own success story. So join me and unleash your awesome. Welcome to part 2 with Sarah Drew. She's an actor, writer, producer, and if you missed part 1, you better go back and download it. In this part of the episode, Sarah's going to talk about social media, the impact on the entertainment industry and on every industry, and how she developed leadership qualities as an executive producer through empathy and curiosity. Let's get into it. What is the environment today? If you were coming up today, what do you think has changed and what do you think has stayed the same? Do you feel like social media is a tool that we have to?
Yes.
It's a must, right?
I mean, look, there are plenty of A-listers out there that don't have any social media. And that's fine because they're A-listers and they don't need social
media. They were established, yeah.
And there are plenty of, there's still folks that don't have social media, but I will say from a producer standpoint,
you want to see this. You want to see somebody on camera and personality and stuff like this, right?
You want to peek behind the curtain of who the person is, but also in terms of just like having a following, it matters. It matters that there's like a numerical following, and that is thought about when people are cast in things. You know, it's like, oh, she's got 7 million followers, which is basically bigger than a whole magazine subscription. So if she's advertising the movie, it gets out into the world, you know? So there is...
I remember telling Jessica Alba that when we were on Spectrum for LA's Finest, I just said, why aren't we just filming this and putting it on your and Gab Union's feeds? You know, like that has a bigger following than Spectrum had for that. Yeah. And more people would have seen it that way. And she goes, yeah, that's the way. I'm like, how is that not happening yet? Like, how is Instagram and you know, well, let's just leave it at Instagram, not like making full-length shows that you're just watching, 10 minutes at a time when you want from the person's feed.
I know. It'll would happen. Be interesting.
I guess Meta tried to do that for a minute with their shorts.
There's something called verticals that are happening now, which are like almost like audio books, but they're spending a lot of money on them. I just heard about this the other night, but it's like an app that you can watch little 2 minutes at a time episodes, and there's really good production quality and stuff, and telling a little story bite by bite. I just like.
It's such a short attention span.
So sad. That makes me so depressed.
We're doing longer commercials. My brother-in-law, David McLean, who's going to be the editor and producer on this, he hates that Instagram, in his mind, has ruined all of our pictures, all of our home movies with the vertical instead of the horizontal.
I know.
So I might start trying to go horizontal again just for the memories. But
just for the memories.
My kids are almost out of the house pretty soon, so maybe I'll just stick with it. I know. How are in your amazing family? I see all the stuff you guys are doing. Like the theater camp is living in your house. It looks like it's amazing.
So much fun. The musical, yes, my kids they both do musical theater, and my son is also a filmmaker and very into filmmaking and super talented. And kind of like he is so committed to it that he will spend hours just watching YouTube tutorials if he gets stuck on trying to create a special effect that he has envisioned for whatever the moment is that he's putting into his movie. And so he'll just go teach himself how to build whatever special effect he's trying to build, and then he'll go build it. And
it's amazing.
He edits on Final Cut Pro. It's bananas. And it's really, really fun to see him kind of expand in that way. And then Hannah right now is starring in her school play as Peter Pan, and also starring in this this youth musical theater youth program as James in James and the Giant Peach. So they're both in that play together. So she rehearses a lot of songs and a lot of her lines. I run lines with her sometimes if she lets me. It's only happened once. She'll always be like, no, I just want it to be a surprise. I'm not really acting it, Mom. I'm just doing it for lines.
Yeah.
I want you to be surprised by my choices.
Does she not want your input, do you think? Or is she really want you to be surprised?
In general, like,
Micah
wants my input. So, like, Micah just wrote a script yesterday for an assignment and was like, I need your notes. And gets really mad if you don't give him something that he can change. Generally. Like,
that's amazing.
He wants constructive criticism. He at one point asked me to be totally honest about his performance in a play that was done. Like, I didn't have any input, and then the show happened, and then it was over, and he wanted me to give criticism after the fact. And I was like, honey, I'm not going to do that. You can't, there's nothing that you can change. You did such a great job. If you would like me to work with you leading up to the show, and I can offer you some thoughts where you can actually apply them and do something with them, I would be happy to do that. But my role as your mom is not to criticize you after the fact.
That's such good advice, by the way, for everybody. For everybody.
The thing is, the world is going to criticize him enough. He's going to have enough voices out in the world that, and like, if you don't like the movie that just came out that I was in, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I don't want your 10-point reason why it wasn't good.
Yeah.
I have no power to change anything about it. So if you don't like it, just move along. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, that's also good advice for anybody watching any of my stuff in the future.
Just tell me why. What am I supposed to do with that information? All it does is make me feel shitty. So anyway.
And we both had that. We've both had that, like from family members where they're like, I didn't like that, what you're doing. This one's, you're like, wait a second. There's nothing I could do about that now.
Yeah.
I made the choice. I did it. You're like, or they just saw it and you're like, okay, just don't give me a phone call. But it's like, I'd just rather see you in more dramatic roles.
No, shut up.
You're like,
good.
Okay.
Go call all the people that could hire me. Don't talk to me about that.
I'm working on it.
I know. It's an interesting thing because we do get so much as actors, especially with followings on Instagram, and our nervous systems are not built for the amount of feedback we get. I've taken
a real break from social media, and it wasn't because of criticism or anything else. It was just that I wanted to not think about likes, think about having to stay up. It felt like a burden. It felt like a burden that I needed to reply to every single person and everything. There's times I really enjoy it, usually when I'm drinking, like when I watched your movie. Do you remember that? I watched your Christmas movie, the one, where was it at? It was in Switzerland? No, in Vienna. Vienna. And that's where it was fun because the reaction of everybody when I had a couple drinks at like Christmas Eve and saved your movie for that.
Oh,
and I was commenting on it like live. People were like, this is the best content you've ever put out, Ryan. I was like, you just want me to be drunk and watch Sarah Drew movies then, like. But I was dying, and the feedback
funny.
that was coming in, and I realized, that's it. Just have fun with it and be authentic. But sometimes I don't
think the thing
I'm not in that mood.
That's really hard about it. A couple things. I find myself when I'm, thinking about a picture or a video I might take. Instead of just, this would be a nice family photo for my family album.
That's right.
I'm like, is it
It's a great memory, yeah.
All of a sudden in my brain, I'm thinking about the world seeing my private memories. Like, but that's because my brain is so wired to needing to output content. I'm just in my life doing life things, and that comes into my brain. I hate that. I don't want to enjoy a moment, take a picture when I want to capture a moment that will be for me and for my family. And so that's one thing that just takes us immediately out of the present moment.
Compartmentalizing it, right? Trying to figure that out has been a very hard thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, it keeps you from being present in the moment, because you're going, okay, I'm now thinking about this and how it might perform on here. And then I also find that even, all the likes are it's just numerical popularity contest, which just like, why do we have to live in high school and middle school, but at an extreme level as grown adults? I don't know. It's so annoying.
And taking us away from the people that we really will miss the most when we don't have this time back and we're sitting there on our phones. And that's why I've taken a long break.
It's also the positive feedback, because the more you can go on and then post, like, I don't know, red carpet picture, whatever, and then look and just keep going back and look, what are they saying? What are they saying? Ooh, they think I'm pretty. They think I'm pretty. They think I'm pretty. And it becomes its own little hit, like
monster.
Its own little
it's
monster drug. It's a dopamine hit that is from people you don't know, that you don't need their opinion from.
Yeah.
And you can start to really build your self-worth and identity on what all this feedback is saying, whether it's positive or negative. And anytime
I've got a great Christmas movie I'm going to pitch you offline now. Just as we're talking, it just comes to me, right? And I love this. I love it.
Like anytime you are in a space where your sense of value or worth is in danger of being defined by what other people are saying that have no bearing on your life,
you'll never
no
meet
relationship with you.
No.
Then you're dangerously close to just getting swept on the wind and the waves of this industry and what it does to us emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard to stay grounded. And I have like a total love-hate relationship. I don't really even, mostly a hate relationship with Instagram, because I feel like I have to keep up.
Yep.
I have to promote. It is absolutely essential. And the thing that I love is that I do love engaging with fans. That I actually really do love that part of it. But the need to constantly be putting something out, it's just so exhausting.
We went from getting, like, for me, and I'm older than you, and we went from like getting voicemails on recording, right, to going, I got home at the end of my day. I went and learned a bunch of things. I had no cell phone, no pager, all through college.
No internet.
And no internet. And I'd go to a lab once in a while and use a computer for a couple hours if I needed to go onto like dial-up internet. And then I'd go home, I'd read, I'd write, I'd do all, and no distraction.
Yeah.
And then I'd press play on that answering machine and it'd be like, you have 4 messages. And you're like, oh, we got mom, maybe one of my siblings, and maybe the girl that I was hoping that would call me, or a buddy that's saying like, let's go out and get a drink on Thursday or Friday, whatever it is. And then I was like, oh, that's right. I better write that down by the pad of paper next to the phone.
Yeah.
And I'll return it tomorrow. Now it's like, if you
don't reply to me in 20 seconds, you
have 1,000 new messages on every photo you post. You have, texts, you have emails, you have everything. And it's just like, there's no long form thought anymore and no like time to really let things develop naturally. And, it is what it is, and our kids will adapt to it. And I'm sure they're going to be great because, that's what our grandparents probably thought of automobiles and, all kinds of how fast the world was moving now.
Yeah.
But man, it's weird. And I'd love I'd like to get that app that would shut everything down and just go, hey, here's your 4 most important messages.
Yep.
Your family, and then everything else can wait. And if you don't have time, you don't have time.
Yep.
That's the goal. That's the app we're going to do. But we'll come up with a Christmas movie that really teaches people how to live the right way, an unplugged Christmas. Man, honestly, I'm going to have you back real soon because with Brian Sills here, I feel like we got a lot to. Oh, shit. Let's talk about, yes. I honestly, we're an hour in and I'm like, I didn't even get to talk about Mistletoe Murders yet. So tell me how Mistletoe Murders started. Tell us the process of Sarah Drew getting attached to this project with Hallmark Plus.
It was an offer, and
that's a big word. That's a big word for those who don't know. An offer is what you dream and hope for your entire career, so you don't have to go through the audition process.
Yes.
It's such an honor, and I'm so glad to hear it was an offer.
Yes, and I had never. So it's based on an Audible podcast series of the same name that stars Kobe Smulders actually as Emily Lane in the podcast. And so we're saying this podcast is really, really doing really, really well. They just dropped their 3rd season actually, and they're making it into a TV series. And I read the script, and the end of the first episode, my jaw was on the floor, and I was like, I have to play this character. This is so fun. I can't wait to get into who this person is. What is her backstory? The mystery was so well crafted and so fascinating and interesting. There's so much humor in the show as well. And I said, sure, I would love to do it if I can also be an executive producer. And they said yes. So I got to come on as an EP as well. And it's been an absolutely heavenly collaborative experience across the board, just like joyous. Every crew member, every cast member, every person in leadership, it is the sweetest community. And I'm praying for more seasons.
You're 100%. You're going to get more seasons. First of all, I'm really impressed by the production quality. The production value is on point. You have the lighting is good. The camera work is good. Obviously the actors are fantastic, led by you. And I just feel the energy that you don't always have the time and the budget for. And there's a lot that goes into a TV series or one of these movies that we do that a lot of people go, oh, why was that one so different than the other? Well, time, money, coverage, lighting. There's such an incredible DP and so many amazing directors also. And at the helm is this amazing couple, Ken Kupras and Michelle Melanson, and they're married. They're a married couple, and she's producer and he's the showrunner writer, and they are like mom and dad. And that's great.
They care so much about everybody that works for them. They care so much about the quality of the show. They're always wanting to elevate everything, so open to any kind of suggestion or any kind of thought. It's been a really beautiful collaboration. Sometimes an idea I have is like, no, I don't think so. And then I'm like, great, cool. And then sometimes I'll throw an idea out there and I'll fight passionately for it. And then everybody gets on board. And then it's like a really beautiful moment too, and that's the joy and the beauty of collaboration is that you throw your ideas into the mix and best idea wins, right? And sometimes it's not your idea. And if there's any ego there, that's when creativity dies, when somebody's ego gets involved. But when there's no ego and everybody's just like, yeah, what's the best way to say it? What's the best way to tell it? Magic happens. One really fun thing is our production. Well, first they were 10-hour shooting days. So it wasn't like people weren't dead tired.
That's amazing.
And also they have this really awesome tradition that every Friday, people all week long vote just by whispering into the ear of the producer on an employee of the week. This person's really been hustling. This person's been super creative. This person's been just a joy to be around or whatever. So it creates a culture of positive gossip.
Oh, that's amazing.
Everybody's like, wait, no, she should win it. No, he should win it. No, he's doing this. No. And then
great.
On Friday at the morning safety meeting, the winner is announced and they get $100 bill.
Oh, that's perfect.
Bill, and they win
going into the weekend. That's awesome.
And then their picture is on every call sheet for the next week.
That's perfect.
It's just so sweet. It creates this culture of like, we want to work hard. We're appreciated when we do. Everybody's just saying nice things about each other behind their backs.
That's incredible.
It's such a joyous place. So all the fingers crossed, all the knocking on wood that we get to continue it. I swear everybody who sees the show loves it.
Turn the camera so that we can see the poster right there.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. The Mistletoe Murders. Let's go.
Everybody who sees the show loves it. There's nothing not to love about it. It's just a question of getting people to tune in to this new streaming service, which is, for the Hallmark community that are very used to linear, it's a shift for them. So, but Hallmark's really behind it, and hopefully.
And do you want to tell people how to find the Hallmark Plus streaming service?
Yeah, you just get it. You can get it on your Roku. You can get it on your Apple TV. You just download the app, and you can sign up for a free trial, and then just sign up for a free week and binge all 6 episodes, and then you can do it for free. And then that might hook you in. You might want to be like, oh, I really like the content on Hallmark Plus. I may need to get this long term.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed with it because I was like, oh, this was a major upgrade from Hallmark Movies Now to Hallmark Plus, because you got the series, you got the different categories, and it's cozy. It's like cozy mysteries are fantastic. And I love the fact that yours really feels elevated. It feels like it could be on any network. And they're going to go with another season. It's just, they never let you know until like the last minute. And that's the worst.
You just wait.
But 100% you're getting another season of this because it's so good.
We leave the season finale on a big cliffhanger. And there's just miles to go in terms of story to tell. Which, both in terms of relationships, romance, mystery, the biggest mystery of all, Emily Lane's backstory. Like, there's just so much more to dive into. And it feels, it's got a little Veronica Mars feel, a little Alias feel to it, all with like in the sort of coziness of Murder, She Wrote. It's a very fun ride.
I love that. And I love that and I'm sure you had a hand in that, of going like, hey, how can we push it, towards something that you're blending a couple different genres and not just sticking with one that everyone feels is predictable. So that's.
I'm pretty sure they sold it in the room because of these two beloved, Ken and Michelle, because it's two beloved genres and you're marrying them together, and we haven't done that yet. Nobody's done that yet. So it's kind of a fun. And you find that actually the two genres really do go really well together in a weird way. I mean, the show itself is sort of a paradox. Murders are happening at Christmas time, so it's like cozy, but also murder. But also Emily Lane herself is a paradox. She's one person out in the world, and then her voiceover tells a very different story. And so it's that we're playing with this paradox. But the thing that is like a through line for both mystery and Christmas movies is that when you settle in to watch one of these, you know that by the end of it, everything will be okay. You know that the mystery will be solved. You know that the people you want to get together will get together. You know, like all the different twists and turns are going to happen. But you know, settling in that there will be repair after rupture.
That's good because,
that's comforting, especially in very uncertain times in our lives right now in America. Yeah.
100%. And that's, it is something you want to know. You're going for the journey, even though you kind of know the destination, know, and that's the fun of it.
So fun. And there's so many fun twists and turns. My kids are completely hooked. Like,
that's awesome.
Guessing who the killer is every 5 minutes, they're so into it. And that is like the most gratifying piece of all of it. My son is like, this is my favorite thing you've ever made, ever in your career. And I'm like, thank you, buddy.
Have you got any kind of games to go along with it? There could be the adult drinking games, but there can also be like the family games of like for guessing who the killer is.
I gotta figure that out. I gotta get on that.
And guess what? You can buy it in the Hallmark stores.
Yes. this.
Come
I
on.
love this. Got to make a game.
See,
Solve the mystery.
Danielle's family had a lot of Hallmark stores. That was their business. So I was always trying. Yeah, that was their business, and they were very good friends with the Hall family, and all up and down the Mississippi River, very Midwest small town, Quincy, Illinois, and Curlin's Hallmark, back when they used to put the last name in front of the Hallmark store.
Wow.
And I was always thinking, when I started dating and Danielle, and when we got married, they were still in the Hallmark business, and I was always thinking, like, man, there's got to be a way they can link the entertainment, to the stores.
Which they've now done. That's what's happened this year.
That's what's happening, because the DVDs went away. So now it's like, how do you bring the people into the stores? It's a board game. Okay. It's a board game, little cards. Come on, let's go.
I love it.
Just give me a little credit.
I would say I was about to tell you that when I was shooting the show, my family came out for about two weeks or so, 2.5 weeks. And there was this one day we were shooting on the stages, and Micah was reading episode 3. Yeah, episode 3 while I was shooting. So and he was just sitting at my thing, just like devouring the script.
Wow.
Right. So I would go shoot for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever. And then I'd come back to my chair when they set something else up, and he'd be at a different part in the script. And I swear I came back like 3 or 4 times during the course of this, and he had a different suspect every single time. He's like, I know who it is. It's this person. And then I'd come back. He's like, okay, it's not that person because now that person died. So it's this person, and it was so fun and so gratifying, because I'm like, that's exactly what this structure is supposed to do. It's supposed to make you have very solid suspects that you never let off the hook. All the way through,
100%. My grandmother, when I used to visit her in the nursing home, she'd watch nothing but, and when I say nothing but reruns of Murder, She Wrote.
So good.
And she goes, the beauty of getting old, Ryan, is you forgot who did it.
Of course.
So she'd watch it all over again and just go like, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm in. I'm all in. I go,
I love it.
So guess what? When we're old and gray, we're going to be watching all of the mistletoe murders
all over again.
All over again. Don't remember. Let's go. Fire that baby up.
I love it. Oh, it's so fun.
Oh, it's so awesome to talk to you. And I love you so much. And,
me too, buddy.
We will work again. We've been talking about it for years.
I know. We got to make it happen.
Listen, if it's a podcast, it's a podcast. At least I get to see you and have fun. And we're going to get Brian Sills on.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about Lion King in Toronto.
Yes.
So, and then we're going to talk more Mistletoe.
I'll be back there in Toronto this summer, and then we'll get to go see him. Brian Sills has been in a couple of my son's movies. They have a very fun relationship.
Amazing. I love that.
So good. It's so good. I'm like, it's the sweetest.
Is he hitting him up for overtime yet?
He does send me the most, like Micah literally in preparation for coming out to visit me was like, well, Brian's there, right? Yeah. So I'm going to have to shoot. We're going to have to we're going to do some location scouting and make sure that I got an idea. I got a concept. He's going to play a giant goose. Brian Sills lays an egg in this video and speaks in this like quack language and is a master villain. Like it is so good and so fun.
You know what? Brian's smart. He's looking for a job 10 years down the road already. He knows Micah's going to direct him.
They were off shooting on location, of course. And then I get a video reaction from Brian later in the afternoon saying, the director was challenging. He was very demanding. I did get some good craft service. I'm still enjoying the pastrami that's in my teeth right now. And whole
or just a bit. He committed to it.
Committed. It's so good.
Thank you so much, Sarah Drew. I love you so much. Give my love to your family. And I can't wait to work with you again. And thank you for being awesome.
You're awesome.
Oh, no, you're awesome.
I think every guest needs to say that from now on. No, you're awesome.
No. Okay, I'll take it.
Okay, all right.
Thanks for listening, everyone. If you liked what you heard, it would mean a lot if you took 2 seconds and left a 5-star review. Hit that follow or subscribe button for future episodes and share it with as many friends as possible. Because business can be tough, but together, we can be a little more awesome.